Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another weekly channeled energy update. My name's Allison Holly, and I do these every single week so that you can have a little bit of a glimpse into the week ahead energetically. So let's get started for what the message is this week. When I tuned into the energy this week, the first thing that I saw was this. It was a funny image. It was actually this sort of sense of squeezing, and the actual image that I got was those hamsters when they go through the tubes, like if you have this big hamster maze and they go through the tubes, and somehow these tiny animals get even skinnier to go through these tubes. So that image came up, and what I was told about it was that that's kind of what many of us are doing right now. We're actually trying to go through this very small, we're sort of like there's this feeling of squeeze through it, make it through. And it's this portal, and it's taking a jump from one place to another, but we're squeezing ourselves into it. Now, there was a lot of this feeling of, I'm going to go there, and just almost, it's not autopilot, but it was sort of determination was really the word that came through. And a lot of people, maybe you are one of them, have been really trying in a particular area in your life to get from here to there. You've said, I know this is what's next. I know this is where I want to be. And this week is this almost, I'm going to do it come hell or high water. I'm getting myself through. There's a lot of determination. So what I wanted to speak to on that was make sure that it's not coming from mental energy, because there are multiple ways that we can do almost the exact same action. For example, we can go through this, we can be really determined and go through this portal and come out on the other side and be super exuberant and happy about it, even if we are doing it from heart energy. We don't need to be mentally driven with this. So how can you tell if you're being mentally driven versus being heart driven, being heart motivated, we could call it, because it really does feel very differently. If you're being mentally driven, there's this feeling of being really hard on yourself, being disappointed with yourself, being determined, feeling frustrated, getting burnt out from the process. But if you are being present, that's how you know that you're in the heart space, because the heart space, it's not just about love or emotions. It actually, the divine heart space has to do with presence and the connection to the truth of who you are. And so it's really not about emotions. It's elevated beyond that. So if we are in the heart space and we're going through this, we're sort of still squeezing because we're really trying to train ourselves in a new way. But when we're in that heart space, we feel just present as we're going through it. And the squeezing comes from the releasing of who we used to be. The squeezing is sort of the releasing of the attachment to who we used to be, or the ways that we used to operate on autopilot. So we're still squeezing ourselves like that cute little hamster going through the tube. It was such a funny image. That cute little hamster going through the tube, we're still kind of like, I'm going to make it, right? But we can do that from heart energy, and just make sure that you're not wearing yourself out mentally, getting into those mental loops, getting frustrated, or just feeling sort of, when you get into real mental energy and it just, your brain wears yourself out. Make sure that you're not going into that, because there is a way to make this transition outside of the mind being the one that guides it, really letting the heart guide this and the present moment. Another way to look at this is when you're running a race. If any of you have ever run a race, or you're doing maybe a workout and you're really, really tired, and then there's something that clicks in right there at the end, and you just feel like, I can do this. And somehow you just do it. That's the energy that we're really in. We're moving ourselves through that tight place, and we're just sort of going on this determined autopilot, but we're being very present with it. So it might help if you think of it that way. Something that kicks in that's beyond just the physical body or beyond just the mental push, and it just takes us there. So find that reserve within, or allow that reserve to come up and get you to the other side of this wormhole that we're moving through. whatever it is for you, whatever your personal thing is. So each person is going to really have a different thing. What is it that you've been working on for a really long time? And then you're going to take yourself to that place. Also, this week, some of you might still be feeling residual frustration from last week. Last week, there was a lot of frustrated energy. There was a lot of sort of feeling stuck, a lot of coming up against these walls internally, and then of course we project those externally because we're human and we're still learning and we're bumping up against each other. It's always internal. And so some of you might still be feeling some of that residual frustration carrying over into this week. If you're feeling that, take a step back, remind yourself that it's within, and if it's within, this isn't meant to be one of those things that says, oh God, now I'm doing it again. If it's within, we have the power to change it. If it's external, can you imagine if this reality was actually external? We would have no power. But because it's within, we have the power to shift it. There are a lot of tools out there. I have plenty of tools if you're looking for someone to work with, helping people move from stuck energy into the present moment where we're really powerful and we can really make big change. So if you're feeling that frustration, go within, remind yourself that it's you, the power is within you, and just maybe take a moment and be present, because sometimes we just need to release that push. We need to just be in the present moment, let go of that pushing that we're always doing so that we can be here, and then it automatically releases it. It's a really powerful process, just being present. Another thing that came through, and this was really interesting, it was the actual words, put down your phone and go outside. So right now the seasons are changing. This is true across the world. Depending on where you are, for us in the US here, we're moving into the fall season, the autumn season. So there's this really beautiful shift that's happening, but it's also getting kind of colder. And for some people, getting colder makes us want to withdraw into our houses. We get a little bit stuck in that perspective. So the directive was literally put down your phone and get outside. Go play outside. Remember that just because the season's changing, it doesn't mean that we need to automatically withdraw into the house. We can put ourselves outside and still be present in nature. And that's very important this week so that we can enjoy, and it helps us be more present as well. So pleasure and presence, those are two very big factors in knowing that we're living in that fifth dimensional consciousness and beyond. So as we shift seasons, no matter where you are, there's a focus that's coming in about the food that we feed ourselves, how we take care of the body, because when there's a shift in seasons, remember, we're part of the earth too, and so we need to shift what we eat, we need to shift what we do physically, move with the season, move with the change, whatever it is, whatever the season is where you exist. Make sure you're connecting with the earth and having that change be part of your own personal change as well. So go play outside, listen to nature, and see what it's telling you about how to take care of your own body through this shift in seasons. And the last thing that came through this week is a focus on community. And this has come through many times. So the way that universal energy works, of course, is it's not just divided week by week. That would be really funny. But it's actually sort of this continuum. So this has been coming up a lot. And this re-entering into feelings of community, desiring to be among community and connect. And again, the guidance was, because of the internal work that each of you have been doing, you can now connect with community, again, from a place of inner strength without losing yourself. So feeling this strength in community, also feeling this desire to be neighborly, right? This idea of neighborly. And being neighborly can come from a couple different places. It can come from the mind, which means I'm going to go out there and do something nice for my community or nice for my neighbor, from a place of trying to look good or look at me, I'm being so neighborly. But the motivation is real. The motivation is coming up for a reason. It's just sometimes, when we allow ourselves to put things out, it can come out a little bit twisted if we haven't really resolved some of these things within. So, what we really want to pay attention to is let this motivation to be connected and to be neighborly come through the heart and really be genuine and be present with the people in your community and be present with the acts of service that you're doing if that's what you're feeling called to do. When we're present with these things, we're able to be more genuine, more in alignment, and more actually connected to the people that we're interacting with. And when we're actually connected, when we're present, then we feel this sense of unity, and it doesn't feel like a hierarchy. It feels like, well, of course I'm doing this for you because I am part of you. We are part of each other. So that's it for this week's energy update. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate your likes, subscribes, and shares, and the comments that you leave. They're so wonderful. I want to make an announcement before I let you go. Today, I am opening up pre-registration for my new course. It's called Pleasure Alchemy. Now, for those of you who have been around for a while, you know that I used to teach sexuality. I taught it for a number of years. I taught sexual energy and what I called ecstatic sexuality, reaching ecstatic states of being through our sexual energy. And I have received the guidance to start teaching this again, to begin integrating and incorporating everything that I offer together. So I have a new course. It's called Pleasure Alchemy. This is going to be a group course. We're going to start it in November, and it's all about receiving through igniting our sexual energy. So it's going to be about manifestation and sexuality. I'm so excited to offer this. It's going to be really amazing. Some of the insights that I've received through channeling around what to teach is really, really powerful. They are practices that I use in my life every single day. So I'm going to leave a link to learn more in the description box below this video. Also, if you are wanting to learn how to channel, that is something that I teach. In the description box, you will be able to find a link for that community as well. All right, I'll talk to you all soon. See you next week. Bye-bye.